Bonjour, Miska Megase Ikwe Nigo Megase Dode Saging Donji. This morning I'd like to start with a grandmother song because I'm going to be talking and sharing my grandmother's story about family violence prevention that she created in our community back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So it's a grandmother song. Miigwech. The reason why I sing this song is that I'm going to be sharing about how grandmothers developed or created their own prevention within the community, especially in my community. And my grandmother's name was Christina Cushane, and she had it in her heart to help women that were experiencing violence from their partners. And it's all about respect too. She respected women in the community, and the women respected her, and she made her own home a place of safety for the women and children. And my grandfather at that time too, respected that she was doing that for the women in our community. And sometimes they would come to our home maybe for the weekend, maybe for a week. It just depends how long the women wanted to have that time out from their partners. So a lot of times, as I remember that, it was always the grandmothers in our community that took care of the women, especially with the family violence. So, and the men in the community started to respect my grandmother for doing that also. They would not come to our home while their wife and their children were in our home for their safety. And just this one time, this one man came and was banging on the door, and my grandmother stood at the door and would not open that door. So, and then the next morning, that same man, and he came to apologize to my grandmother for doing what he did that night. And so she accepted his apology, but after that, whenever his wife came for a place of safety for herself, he did not come. So as as I was experiencing all what was happening in the community, especially with family violence, it was always the grandmothers that stepped forward to help the women in the community for a place of safety. It wasn't only my grandmother; it was other grandmothers in the community, and that's what I saw as a child when I was growing up, and it was the mothers also were very respectful to my grandmother for doing that, and the men in the community also. And I remember my grandmother always talking to my male cousins and telling them that not to hit their wives if they have wives one day, that it wasn't right to hit their wives, because she explained to them that my grandfather never did that to her. My grandfather never hit her, never abused her. So she always instilled that in my cousins, my male cousins, not to have violence in their home. So that too was passed on to my male cousins, that to respect their partners. So as I remember that as a child growing up, and my own experience also, with my son and his young partner. There was some violence in there too, but I asked them, they had a child, I asked them if they were going to part, that they had to part, because of their conflict, that it wasn't a good relationship. So they parted, and then they had this child, and then I asked them if I could keep their child and raise their child for them, because they were very young. They were just a young couple. So they allowed me to raise my firstborn grandchild, and that's where I found that there was a lot of respect with that, respect that they allowed me to raise their child for them, and to always know that their child was safe with me. So, and that's how I see respect in our families, is to always take that opportunity whenever we feel that something's not working in a relationship, that we have to step forward and ask if we can help, and that way they learn that respect, that they respect you for that. So that's how I see respect in communities, especially in my community, in my family, and respecting our children. And my other, two of my other sisters also raised their firstborn grandchild, because that's what we do. That's part of our tradition. If relationships don't work out, then we step in as grandmothers. We step in and we ask to raise that child, our grandchild. So that's how I see our families today, that it's all about respecting one another, respecting our sons, respecting our daughters, if they have difficulties in raising their children, and having a prevention, a prevention that their child is safe, that sometimes relationships don't work out, and it's okay, and it's okay for grandmothers to step in because we're part of that circle of life. We're part of that, we're part of that to take that opportunity to respect us, to respect the families, to respect that child. It's all about that. So when we look at that today, what is in your bundle? What kind of values, what kind of teachings do you want to pass on? We have many teachings, and we just have to look at what do we want to put in our teaching bundle for our children, for the next generation, and that's what prevention is all about, is rekindling our own teachings, our own values, and that's how things were before colonization came about. That families were always respectful to one another, and that's what family prevention is all about. It's about respect, it's about love, humility, wisdom, honesty, and truth, and we all have to have that in our teaching bundle for our children, our grandchildren, and the ones that are yet to come. These are the teachings we need to teach our people today, to have that bundle, to have a good life. And that's what it's all about, having that good life, having that respect for everyone in the family and in the community and in society also. So that's my understanding of respecting the grandmothers. The grandmothers are always there for us, and we as grandmothers know that that's our responsibility to help our families, and that's what I want to leave today, is that to have that teaching bundle. Every family needs that teaching bundle, and to pass it on for the next generation, especially the younger generation. There's a lot of young people that are having children without teachings, and it's really valuable to teach the young ones that are coming to this generation, the ones that are not born yet. What are we going to have for them? And that's what I want to leave today, is that understanding of that the teachings and the bundle that we carry for the next generation. So, Ise miigwech for listening today. Thank you.